What's up guys, Stars Yu-Gi-Oh! Here. In the history of Yu-Gi-Oh! We've had many ban lists that made me scratch my head. And many other players also did. Today I'm gonna talk to you about the top 10 ban lists that just made no sense, that just did totally weird stuff and that honestly were quite a mistake. So kicking off the list at number 10 we got the October 2013 ban list. The one change on here that really made me scratch my head is limiting 6 cents. For those that don't know, 6 cents was a OCG first card, which allows you to call two numbers between 1 and 6. So you'll always be calling 5 and 6. Then you roll a die. If it's one of the numbers you called, you draw that many cards, otherwise you mill that amount. So about 33% of the time you get to draw 5 or 6 cards. Now, not only is that a lot of draw power, but it's also inconsistent, meaning it's a hella sacky card, which is not healthy for the game. It saw play in a lot of decks, and especially in OCG early on it saw a lot of play. And this being limited is honestly a joke. Konami knew exactly what they were doing. The card already was shown it already showed how broken it was in the OCG, yet they still only limited it on release. It goes to show that Konami is just a really greedy company that's only there to make money. They don't really care about the actual state of the game. Which is disgusting, honestly. So my number 9 is the February 2018 ban list, which banned Dandelion, banned Level Eater, brought back Apocryphal Towers, only limited Grinder Golem, not even banning it, and worst of all, limiting Firewall Dragon, keeping it legal in the game and not actually, limiting it. So these are quite some disgusting changes. Dandelion being banned means plant decks now lose one of the strongest monsters, Lights ones lose one of the strong monsters. Meanwhile, Level Eater going to 0 sealed the coffin for Synchro/Junk Doppel decks, and it can easily be seen that Junk Doppel decks just weren't viable after this. I mean, 2020 and it's still aren't viable, even with Junk Speeder. It was a big part of the deck, so RIP. Level Eater arguably had to go with the whole link mechanics, so god, links were such a mistake. Then there's Apocryphal Towers, which is just completely unhealthy. And yeah, sure, it didn't do much in the end, but it's not the type of card you want in the game. Then there's Grinder Golem, which was extremely disgusting and honestly degenerate, which shouldn't be at anything above 0, but anyway, yeah, they were like, yes, this card is problematic, so limiting it. Like, if it's that problematic, ban it. And then there's Firewall Dragon. Oh boy, Firewall Dragon, where do I even start? So my 8th spot goes to the 2000 July OCG ban list. It did 2 changes that blew my mind. Delicate Duo to 2 and Gravekeeper's Servant to 2. So for those that don't know Delicate Duo, you pay some amount of life points, I forgot which amount, it will probably show on the screen right now, to force your opponent to discard a random card and then they discard another card they choose. Back this early in the game, being forced to discard 2 cards is devastating. You pretty much lose the duel if you receive this card against you. So my question is, Konami, you know how broken this card is, why did it only go to 2? That makes no sense. And then there's Gravekeeper's Servant, which is an extremely niche card that has seen some play in casual stall decks. Basically, if you try to attack, you must mill a card. The opponent does, so if you use this card, your opponent must mill a card to attack. And yeah, sure, I mean, it can add up, but really, Gravekeeper's Servant? And also to 2, like, what? This list made no sense at all. I was looking through some OCG ban lists and this was definitely the weirdest one. No shoutouts to the ban list that also limited Trap Hole, that was another ban list, which really made me scratch my head. So anyways, my number 7 is May 2018 ban list, in the TCG of course. Phoenician Cluster got banned, which made no sense, this card did not do anything. Yes, there were some FTKs, but Phoenician was not the issue here. Then there was Supreme King Dragon Starving Venom, going to 0 instead of the Lyrilusk Exceeds, that was actually Lyrilusk Fusion, that was actually the problem card. This card was not a problem card, so it was really weird to see this banned. Then the Ranked Magic Ardent Chaos Force also got banned, which totally kills certain fun decks. And they still suffer to this day. Meanwhile, the actual problem here, Utopix Axel, is still abusable. I mean, look at the new number 1 support and you'll see why that card should have taken the hit and not Archjade's Force. One of the saddest bans of all time, that grass looks greener. Very fun card for the game, it was great, it encouraged diversity, so it sadly had to go. And then there was the limitation of Gem Knight Master Diamond, which was totally the wrong hit, as Gem Knight FTK is still a thing nowadays. So my number 6 is the April 2016 ban list. Northern went from 3 to 1, which totally doesn't do anything. Most decks only really ran one copy, so that's a hit that did nothing. The card was problematic enough to be hit, but once again, why limiting it? Monkey Board going to 1, which should have been outright banned. That card was ridiculous. It going to 1 made no sense. It's like, yeah, I'm pretending to hit a card, but you're not really hitting a card if you do that kind of stuff. Reasoning going from 3 to 1, totally obliterating fun decks and other casual decks that couldn't use it, which was really sad. I guess that was because of Cosmo, but then just directly hit Cosmo. Upstart Goblin went from 3 to 1, which is outrageous, and somehow, so many years later, it's still at 1. Makes absolutely no sense. This is so sad. And then there's Emergency Teleport going from 3 to 2, which is also really sad. Big nail in the coffin for Psychic decks, which are already weak. Yes, Cosmos were strong, but not that strong. Not this hit being justified levels of strong. I mean, maybe it was, but then you just hit Cosmo Town or Dark Destroyer, not these bullshit indirect hits. So the 5th spot we got the March 2009 ban list. So first off, Goya Guardian going from 3 to 1. If it is so problematic to be hit, especially an extra deck monster, ban it. Like, limiting this doesn't do much. Card of Safe Return going from 2 to 1, which is also ridiculous. Card of Safe Return is an insanely broken card, especially around that time that already was obvious. Why are you limiting it? Why keep it in the game if it's such a problem? Outright ban it. Then there was Destiny Draw going from 3 to 2 when Malicious already was going to 2 that ban list. That's way too overkill. And then there was Ultimate Offering going for 1 to 2, like what were they thinking? Ultimate Offering to 2? The card is insanely disgusting and degenerate, what? Next up we have the 4th spot, the September 2013 ban list. It's the day we lost Stratos and it took way too long to get it back. Gateway of the 6 also got banned when it's not like 6 Samurai was a tier 0 deck or anything back then. Storm went from 1 to 0, which was also a dark day in Yu-Gi-Oh! History, as this meant backrow decks were harder to punish. Pot of Avarice went from 1 to 0, which was a generically a good abusable spell card. Well, abusable is a big word, just useful and generic, which is good for the game. But Konami didn't agree on that one. Solemn Judgment got banned, it was limited, which is also really sad. Solemn Judgment is a great card for the game. It doesn't have the cost, it can negate anything, so you know. I guess it kinda is sacky, but I don't know. I think Solemn Judgment always has been a healthy card, so it getting banned made no sense. And then there was TG Striker going from 1 to 2, like, why not immediately go to 3? What are you afraid of a TG Striker in 2013, like Konami will tell? So at the 3rd spot we got the April 2005 ban list. Daniken Duo went from 0 to 1. Yes, somehow in their infinite wisdom Konami was like, yeah, you know, this Daniken Duo card, it's healthy for the game, we need it back. Like, what? Then there was another really healthy good card that went to 1. Yes, Graceful Charity went from 0 to 1, which is also just mind-blowing, like that card is broken, what the hell Konami. And Dark Scorpion Chick went from 3 to 2. Huh? Yes, I'm not kidding. You can look it up. What? That's probably the most questionable hit in Yu-Gi-Oh! History, not gonna lie. So my second place is an infamous ban list. It's the March 2012 ban list. Basically they were like, yeah, people aren't playing Exceed decks. Maybe we should severely punish Synchro decks for existing. They banned Glowbulb, they banned Spore, they banned Trishula, they limited TG Striker, which is like what? They semi-limited Reborn Tengu and they semi-limited Ultimate Offering, which was still a thing, huh? Like, why isn't Ultimate Offering banned here? But yeah, the point is, what? Why did you guys try to kill Synchros? This made no sense, this ban list. Well, it did make sense, people didn't like Exceeds, people thought, yeah, Synchros are more fun, so we're playing Synchros. And I was like, no, 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 no. No Synchros allowed, we're all gonna play Exceeds. Now 8 years later and Synchros are still completely worthless. Thanks Konami for always being so harsh on synchros. Outside of Eldritch abusing Jet Synchron, which is more of a Link issue than it's really a synchro thing. And my number one, and this is definitely by far the worst changes, group of changes on the banlist basically ever. The April 2020 banlist. Destrudo going from 3 to 0 despite not really seeing any competitive play. Globulb going from 3 to 0 when the only card it's a problem with is Crystal Hulky Fibrax, which, yeah, is a strong interaction, but why is Bulb taking the fall, not Hulky Fibrax? TG Hyper Librarian going from 3 to 1 and Trishula going from 3 to 1, and honestly, these cards never saw competitive play in the last few years. Trishula nor Hyper Librarian, even if you ever see Trishula, it's just a single copy. If anyone ever Trishula loops you, it's with desynchro, meaning you only need one copy. These changes just showed Konami was really out of touch, and to make it all even better, Deep Sea Diva went from 2 to 3, which, if you know anything about Yu-Gi-Oh!, Deep Sea Diva results in some degenerate boards just purely on its own already. It moving up is not a good thing for the game. But like, really, look at this ban list, Hyper Librarian and Trishula going from 3 to 1, it just goes to show how out of touch Konami was. You had so many strong decks running around, you had these cards that never saw play. Konami was like, ah yes, these really strong meta decks. I'll pretend I didn't see that. Now, TG Hyper Librarian, yeah, that's definitely a problem. This list just goes to show how out of touch with the community and the game Konami really is. These changes made no sense, and I'm still wondering to this day why Konami hid those cards. I mean, now TGs actually have to run Power Gladiator to be viable. Thanks Konami, I really appreciate it. So, any changes I missed? Honorable mention I guess to that one weird ABC hit with A being limited due to Firewall Dragon Shedding Guns, which was really weird. But yeah, I hope you guys liked this video. See you guys next time. Stars Studio signing out.